In this video, we'll be discussing how to perform your PET sample t-test in SPSS. Your PET sample t-test is an inferential statistics that helps you to compare two categories. Let's say for an example, before and after. Okay, so let's say for an example, you have a group of students who went for a training. Now, before the training, their IQ levels was measured and recorded. Now, after the training, let's say after the 1 year training, their IQ levels was also taken to see if there was any improvement. So let's take an example. Let's say you may have the IQ level before training year and the IQ level after training on another column. Of course, that will be continuous variables. Okay, because your IQ quotients are usually in figures. Okay, so that's an example. Let's also take an example. You have a number of children selected for a research work, and you took down their weight. Probably they have a record of their weight 5 years back, and then probably after 5 years you also took a record of their weight. Now you want to compare if the difference between their weight 5 years ago and the difference between their weight 5 years after is statistically significant. Okay, so that's what your PET sample t-test helps you to do. Now, to perform your PET sample t-test, I'm going to use these two continuous variables as an example. We have your weight and height. Okay, so let's use this as an example. To perform my PET sample t-test, I'll come to analyze. I'll come to compare means. Okay, I'll come to PET samples t-test. Now you can see we have the pair, we have variable 1, variable 2. Now if you are doing your before and after PET sample t-test, your variable 1 will be your before variable. Let's say your weight, your variable, your column containing your weight or your weight variable 5 years ago. Okay, and then this will be for your after. Variable 2 will be for your after. Okay, so this will be for before and after, if I were to be doing a before and after comparison. Okay, but since this is just an example, I'll be choosing our weight and height. For example, they are both continuous variables. Of course, they must be in scale. So I selected the first one. My weight entered my variable 1, and then my height, I'll select it will enter variable 2. Okay, so I just click on OK. Okay, now this gives us our results. Now you can see our mean difference. You can see the mean for weight is 29.24, the mean for height is 136.49. This is our sample size for weight and female 519, 519, the standard deviation and our standard error. Okay, now if we look at, now of course we want to determine if there's a significant difference between the weights. Let's assume we did a statistics on the weight of children 5 years before and 5 years after. So we want to know if the difference is statistically significant. Or let's just say, for in this example, we want to know if the difference between the weight and height is statistically significant. Okay, so how do I know? Like I've explained already in previous video on t-test. Okay, now you can know through your p-value, which is given us here. Our p-value is less than 0.00, and of course ideally you should interpret this as less than 0.001. okay, not just points as 0.00. Now this is way less than 0.05, so this tells us already that the difference is statistically significant. Okay, and your t-value too. Now, like I explained earlier, the negative sign does not matter. Why you have a negative sign is just because we selected our weight first and our height second. So that gives us that difference in that negative mark we are having there. Okay, now if we selected height first and weight second, there will be no negative sign there. Okay, sorry, negative sign, not negative mark. So that's our t value. Then your upper and lower limit. Now if your lower and upper limit includes 0, like I explained earlier, this test so that there's no statistical significant difference between the height and weight. Okay, so that's how we can interpret our head samples t-test.